It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds, and welcome to the dictionary. My name is Spencer, and this is episode F73. You know what really sucks? Getting old really sucks. I don't want to be the guy that harps on aging and how stupid it is and how frustrating it is, but I just had an eye appointment yesterday, and I found out that at the age of 44, it seems like it is time for progressive lenses. Distance on the top, reading on the bottom, because I've been noticing over months that I gotta do the thing that I witnessed my dad do, to move things back and forth to find the right spot, the sweet spot of where I can read things. And, this book is kind of close, so having reading glasses will actually help, because it's a little blurry, just a little bit. Maybe if I don't know. It's so stupid getting old and your body is falling apart. And I have such feelings about hearing people talk about that stuff. But I don't want to be that guy. But I am that guy. I'm going to be that guy. But I don't want to. I want to minimize this old age talk. Okay, let's stop talking about that for real. And now let's talk about some fibro words that I believe are all or mostly related to the body. Maybe they're related to aging. All right, the first word in this episode is fibril, F-I-B-R-I-L. You could also just say fibril. Noun from 1664. It is a small filament or fiber as one, no, there's no numbers, just A. The synonym is root hair. So root hair, is that a specific kind of hair, a small filament or fiber, or is it like not even a hair at all? Is it some other thing that's like a hair? It's a filament, it's a fiber, it's a skinny little thing. Number B1 is one of the 9 threads into which a striated muscle fiber can be longitudinally split. Oh boy. Longitudinally, it was hard to say, and then my mouth said, I'm not going to say a simple word like split either. One of the fine threads, did I say 9? I did. I think I said 9. I was like, why is it 9? Specifically 9. One of the fine threads into which a striated muscle fiber can be longitudinally split. Okay, so the muscle fibers, the muscles are made up of these fibers. And they're like long strings, long things that are all bound together. And I guess you can, I have itchiness on my face. Maybe my skin is dry. And you can break them apart into these fine threads if you were to go to a muscle and be like, I'm going to break you apart. That's an odd thing to do. Longitudinally split means that you're pulling them like a string cheese. You're pulling them down the long way. You're not breaking them in half. Yeah, okay. These are fibrils. Number B2. The synonym is neurofibril, which is probably one of the ones in the neurological system of the nerves and such. Fibrillar or fibrilar, that is an adjective. All right, we know this is from fiber, so we got to make a sound which is going to be purr. Is that the sound that I wanted to make? I think so. And what am I seeing? Oh, is that my watch? I saw some weird thing at the bottom of the video. Okay. Now we have the word fibrillate or fibrillate. Verb from circa 1847. We are starting with intransitive. To undergo or exhibit fibrillation or fibrillation, I guess. And transitive is to cause, to undergo fibrillation. And wouldn't you know it? That is our next word. I don't remember what my sound was. Fibrillation or fibrillation. Noun from 1845. And then 2 years after that was fibrillate. Number 1, an act or process of forming fibers or fibrils. You are creating the fibers, the fibrils. Number 2A, a muscular twitching involving individual muscle fibers acting without coordination. A muscular twitching. Well, I've said it before. Sometimes we get these weird muscle twitches, maybe sometimes in our eyelid, sometimes in my finger, maybe some other places, but not usually. Mostly it's those places. And I'm like, why is the thing twitching? Is that fibrillation? Muscular twitching involving individual muscle fibers acting without coordination. They're like, I'm not coordinated with my other muscle fibers. Number 2B. Very rapid, irregular contractions of the muscle fibers of the heart, resulting in a lack of synchronism between heartbeat and pulse. Oh, yeah, this doesn't sound good. Fibrillation of the heart. Why does this happen? Is it something about the nerves? Is it the muscles? The combination of both? Something is saying, do some stuff. Twitch, act. But because it's not in coordination with the other stuff, and that's the important part. When it's with the heart, you really, really want it to be in coordination because the heart works in a very specific way. The right side pumps to push it into the left side, and then the left side pumps to push it out to get to the rest of the body. Man, heart, I thank you. I thank you for working so hard, constantly. Ever since I was very tiny, you've been pumping blood, creating, cleaning, doing whatever you're doing, and I appreciate your hard work. And the heart is just one big old muscle. I mean, it's not as big as some of the other muscles, but it's a very strong, important muscle. And first of all, you got to treat it right. Treat her like a lady. By eating healthy. Don't be putting some bad stuff in there, because then it's like, I don't know what to do with this stuff. But also, because it's a muscle, if you don't work it, you ain't gonna twerk it. Now, I don't know where that phrase came from. If you don't work on it, you don't work it, you don't make it work harder, it's just gonna sit there and get weak like all your other muscles. It's gonna atrophy. Maybe not as much as some other stuff, but you got to keep it up. You got to keep it strong. That's why you got to go do cardio and stuff like that. I'm trying to get back in the habit of doing cardio stuff to make it work harder. Be like, well, this sucks, but I'm also getting stronger. So, very specifically, let's go back to that definition that got us on the heart track. Very rapid, irregular contractions of the muscle fibers of the heart, resulting in a lack of synchronism between heartbeat and pulse. The heartbeat and the pulse, you'd think that they would be the same, but I guess when fibrillation is happening, they're not. Take care of your heart. Next, we have fibrin, noun from 1800, a white, insoluble fibrous protein formed from fibrinogen by the action of thrombin, especially in the clotting of blood. And fibrinous is an adjective. Insoluble fibrous protein formed from fibrinogen by the act of thrombin, especially in the clotting of blood. Well, I assume that it's a fibrous protein. So does that mean that it is like fibers? Skinny little fibers? Maybe, I'm not sure. But it was formed from fibrinogen, which is our next word. Fibrinogen, noun from 1872. Now, hold up a second. How did you have fibrin, which is maybe they just didn't know it was formed from fibrinogen. Wow, so many F sounds. But they knew fibrin, so they named it in 1800-ish. But then later they were like, oh, it's formed from fibrinogen. That was 72 years later-ish. So, fibrinogen is a plasma protein that is produced in the liver and is converted into fibrin during blood clot formation. If you get an owie, you scrape your skin, the veins are exposed, and the blood is coming out, and ideally, immediately, your body gets into action and is like, I'm going to send some stuff over there to clot that blood. And so this is a plasma protein. The fibrinogen, I guess, is sent to the blood, the injury area, and then it turns into fibrin, which is a white insoluble fibrous protein. Oh, maybe because it's fibrous, that helps with the blood clotting. I don't know, maybe. All right, now we have fibrinoid or fibrinoid. Fibrinoid is the first pronunciation, so maybe that one's more accurate. Fibrinoid, noun from 1910. It is a homogeneous acidophilic refractile material, that was a mouthful, that somewhat resembles fibrin and is formed in the walls of blood vessels and in connective tissue in some pathological conditions and normally in the placenta. The placenta is a thing. I believe I had a hard time coming up with that word when I was talking about birth or something at some point a while ago. That is the thing that is, I guess it's like the thing inside the womb or next to the womb that's providing all of the nutrients and stuff to the baby, the fetus, if you will, the embryo and then the fetus. And so this fibrinoid, it's an homogeneous acidophilic refractile material. Don't know what that means. Somewhat resembles fibrin. It's formed in the walls of blood vessels and in connective tissue in some pathological conditions and normally in the placenta. Well, I don't really know what most of that means, but it's something that's made in the blood areas, and it's used for things. Fibrinoid. Now we have fibrinolysin. Fibrinolysin. Let's see. This is a noun from 1915. Any of several proteolytic enzymes that promote the dissolution of blood clots. The dissolution of blood clots? Especially, we have, I guess this is a synonym, plasmin. 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 Any of several proteolytic enzymes that promote the dissolution of blood clots. That makes me think that the blood clots are being broken apart. Is this something that once it's clotted and once it's good and healing, then you can break it apart? Or what happens? What happens when the clot happens and like day by day it transforms and it's healing and the skin like I want to see that from like a microscopic level, like a time lapse, I guess, to see what is actually happening in that. It's a very interesting. Bodies are crazy awesome. They are. Just living stuff is crazy awesome. Okay, so that was fibrinolysin. Didn't fully understand that one either. I suspect there will be more that I don't understand because I don't understand this stuff. Now we have fibrinolysis. You can also say fibrinolysis if you want to say it that way. Noun from 1907. The usually enzymatic breakdown of fibrin. Aha, so yeah, we're seeing that the fibrin is used to clot the blood in the blood clot, and then the fibrinolysis is the action of breaking it down. Yes, the fibrinolysis is the action of breaking down the fibrin, I guess when you don't need it anymore. And then the fibrinolysin is the enzyme that allows that process to happen. I think? Okay. Fibrinolytic is an adjective. Next we have fibrinopeptide. Fibrinopeptide, that's what I meant to say. Fibrinopeptide, noun from 1960. Any of the vertebrate polypeptides that are cleaved from fibrinogen by thrombin during clot formation. So fibrinogen, I think, is the one that turns into fibrin during the blood clot. And these fibrinopeptides are polypeptides that are cleaved from the fibrinogen, maybe before it turns into the fibrin. And that happens by thrombin. Thrombin, I guess, is the thing that's making this happen. Is that like another enzyme or something? During clot formation. Next, we have fibroblast or fibroblast. Noun from 1876. I think the reason my face is itchy is because I think I have all this cat hair on myself. I was meditating this morning at home, which I usually don't do, and the cat hopped up on my lap and couldn't stop rubbing her face on my hands and arms and a little bit on my face, and so it's still there. You can't really get rid of cat hair. Okay, so fibroblast from 1876. It is a connective tissue cell of mesenchymal or chymal or origin that secretes proteins and especially molecular collagen from which the extracellular fibrillar matrix of connective tissue forms. I don't know. Fibroblastic or fibroblastic is an adjective. And do I have to read that again quickly? A connective tissue cell, okay? It's a cell in the connective tissues of mesenchymal origin. Is that how you say that word? It comes from the mesenchyme, whatever that is, or something. It secretes proteins, okay? It's shooting proteins out, and especially molecular collagen. That's an important one, I guess, that it's shooting out. Tiny little collagen, from which the extracellular fibrillar matrix of connective tissue forms. It sends out this stuff, and then the connective tissue is formed from that collagen and other proteins, I guess. Fibroblast or fibroblast. Now we have fibroblast growth factor, 3 words. Noun from 1974. Let's scoot this up so I can see this a little bit better. Any of several protein growth factors that stimulate the proliferation, especially of endothelial cells, and that promote angiogenesis. The angiogenesis is like, I assume it's related to the heart, maybe? Angiogram, something. And it's the creation of that angio thing. I'm not sure what this stuff is. Now, we're going to go on to the next word. Fibrocystic, or just fibrocystic, or fibrocystic. Cystic, by the way, is C-Y-S-T-I-C. Adjective from 1854. Characterized by the presence of development of fibrous tissues and cysts. Sorry for those ass sounds. Characterized by the presence of or development of fibrous tissues or cysts. So if that is happening, you can describe that thing as fibrocystic. And was that one of our examples? If I go back to the prefix, no, we had fibroid and fibrovascular. That'll be in the next episode, I believe. Okay, now that was fibrocystic. Now we have fibroid or fibroid. A lot of these words sound very similar. This is the first form, adjective from 1852, resembling, forming, or consisting of fibrous tissue, and the example is a fibroid tumor. So this tumor consists of fibrous tissue. It is formed from or of fibrous tissue, or it resembles fibrous tissue. Now, the second form of fibroid is a noun from circa 1860, a benign tumor that consists of fibrous and muscular tissue and occurs especially in the uterine wall, the wall of the uterus. Now, is this when there is a baby in it or when there is not a baby in it, or either one? It doesn't matter. What is so special about the uterus, the uterine wall, that this type of tumor occurs there? Well, it's probably a very I'm trying to think of the right word to use here. And I'm not so good with coming up with words or having a big vocabulary. For some reason, the first word that came to mind was nutritious, and that is not at all what I meant to say. It's a very there's a word that I'm fertile, I guess, is sort of what I'm looking for. Something like that. You know, it's a very fertile ground. Things can grow there easily. Maybe. I'm just guessing because that is where babies are grown. And so maybe there's a lot of growth and stuff happening in the uterus anyway. And so this specific type of tumor, fibrous and muscular tissue, often grows there, but it is benign, which means it's cool, is not going to harm you. It's maybe you don't even need to get rid of it. Maybe you do. It depends on the situation, but it's benign. That's very good to hear. Next, we have fibrowin. Let's see. Fibrowin or fibrowin or fibrowin. Noun from 1878. An insoluble protein comprising the filaments of the raw silk fiber. You can't soluble this protein comprising the filaments of the raw silk fiber. So is this in the filaments of the silk fiber? The fibrowin. Okay, sure, why not? Now we have fibroma. Fibroma. Noun from circa 1849. A benign tumor, we got another one, consisting mainly of fibrous tissue. So the previous benign tumor that we had was the fibroid, which contained fibrous and muscular tissue. But this one, this fibroma, sounds like it's mostly fibrous tissue. Mainly, it says. So maybe there's a lot less muscular tissue or other types of tissue that this is made from. What is fibrous tissue in general? Just tissue that is like fibers? Okay. Fibromatous? Fibromatous, I think that's how you say it. That's an adjective. All right, we now have gotten to the last word in this episode. It is fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia. I will spell it for you. Fibromyalgia. Noun from 1983. This is a chronic disorder characterized by widespread pain, tenderness, and stiffness of muscles and associated connective tissue structures that is typically accompanied by fatigue, headache, and sleep disturbances. Well, yes, if I had all those symptoms, I think my sleep would also be very disturbed. So pain all over. Tenderness, yes, if you have pain, you're probably going to be tender if somebody touches you and you're like, ow. Stiffness of muscles and associated connective tissue structures. So the muscles, the ligaments, the things that connect the muscles and the bones together, all those, I guess, are going to be stiff. What else? Yes, you're tired, you got a headache, and your sleep is disturbed. And this sounds like it sucks, and I don't really know enough about it. Let's put a link in the show notes for fibromyalgia to learn more about it. I don't know if this is like, are there drugs to help with this these days? Is this something that people just have to deal with and suffer with? I'm not sure. But if you have fibromyalgia, feel free to send me an email, call the Google Voice number. Let me know what your experience is like. And I will read it or put the voicemail in an episode if you're okay with that. All right, now it is the very difficult time of picking a word of the episode. Picking a word of the episode. It's very hard for Spencer to do sometimes, like today. Today we had fibril, fibrillate, fibrillation, fibrin, fibrinogen, fibrinoid or fibrinoid, fibrinolysin, fibrinolysis, fibrinopeptide, fibroblast, fibroblast growth factor, fibrocystic, fibroid, fibroid, fibroin or fibroin, fibroma, and fibromyalgia. Doesn't say where fibromyalgia comes from. It just says it's New Latin, so it's one of those scientific-y words. The myalgia part, don't know what that is. So I don't know. These are all in the body stuff. Tumors, blood clots. Was there anything that was particularly interesting in this one? I mean, there are some very fun words to say. I got no problem picking a word that sounds interesting, fun to say on the mouth. Let's see. Fibroblast is just kind of a fun thing. It's not a blast like we think of, but it's just fun. Fibroblast, fibroblast, fibroblast comes from the mesenchymal origin. Yeah. I think that is perfectly fine today. I hope you enjoyed all these fiber words, fibro stuff, and we're going to have more in the next episode. Almost half of the next episode is going to be similar stuff. Now, it's movie time here on the podcast. The next movie that we watched is Memoir of a Snail. This is a beautiful Australian stop-motion animation movie. I think it just got nominated for a Golden Globe, Best Animated Picture. What to say? I've seen one or two of the other films from this creator, director, maybe one feature and one short or something. There's a very distinctive style that they have in their characters and stuff. And it's they make an interesting blend of like really serious topics, but also done in a fun, silly, weird way. And deals with some stuff. And I'm trying to remember any other sort of specifics. I sort of lose a lot of the details of movies and stuff after I see them. So, it'll be good to watch it another time someday. Memoirs of a Snail. And there's a lot of snail stuff. I think the director actually really likes snails because I think that they've shown up in other films. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for checking out this show. And until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.